welcome again to the one and the only Focus to the Finish YouTube channel. Delighted that you're back with me today. Just another segment on Exactas. This time we're going to talk about the ever popular Exacta. Okay? And by the way, I am recording this show for you. It is the 23rd of October. So tomorrow, Friday the 24th, we will be 1 week away from the Breeders' Cup. I spent a good portion of my day grinding it out in terms of dissecting the pre-entries that became available yesterday. Like I told you guys, I've been sort of way ahead of the game, but I like to reinforce things. When I got the pre-entries, I have a very strong opinion and idea of who's actually going to make it to the gate. But there are some that I started and I did work on, and I watched some additional races because now I consider them as a more than a likely possibility, or some that are just that, a possibility. Of course, we're all going to know precisely who will be starting in the Breeders' Cup, all 14 Breeders' Cup races, and which jockeys will be riding them. All right, so let's talk about Exactas. Now, if you're a horse player, a thoroughbred racing horse player enthusiast, more than likely you either play Exactas all the time or you have engaged in Exacta wagering before. All right? It's exciting. It's an exotic. It's very easy to play. But these are the parameters that I follow, okay? And I've learned this through many years of trial and success and trial and failure. So a lot of what I'm going to share with you tonight, I carry on and conduct throughout the year, but especially on big full card race days where the pools are larger and everybody's watching, and you're talking the grade 1 level racing, like the Breeders' Cup. So, of course, everything I'm sharing with you tonight, this is going to be part of Breeders' Cup Friday, Juvenile Friday, 5 races on that Friday, and 9 races on Saturday. So anyway, back to Exactas. Now, one of the things that I do, I can't lie to you, I play Exactas all the time. But I sort of developed a different mindset over the last few years, actually, after decades of playing Exactas the same way. Now, remember what I said on the Superfecta show, that first of all, you got to know precisely what you land on as a handicap. And when somebody like me, who takes a lot of pride in what he does, and if you're out there following what I provide for you, like when I talk about my precise order, I am recognizing the race in terms of the strength of how strong do I feel on the horse that is my top choice. And with that, if I have a horse listed precise, listed second, because obviously if I'm going to do a precise order, I have to have a horse listed second. And of course, I'm going to have a horse listed third. Now, since I just completed a show on Superfectas, today is a good idea to talk about Exactas and when I play them, and when do I play more exotics, being the triples underneath or the supers rather than the exact. So in a strong, lengthy field, let's call it 10 horses or better, even more so in fields of 11, 12, or 13. For me to play one ice cold exact, and remember, I practice what I preach. If I have a price order, even at the most minimal, even if it's $2, which my exactas are usually greater than that, but even if it's just $2, if my precise exacta hits, then I need to get paid for it. Now, very often, my exacta bet, my cold exacta, if that race lends itself for me to do that, my call exacta is going to be a fairly large play. I like to start it somewhere in the area of 10 times, 15 times, 20 times. And then depending on numerous contributing factors, I make a final decision of how big of an exacta, but what I do and what I don't do. All right, maybe you could get a flavor and gather these as pearls, if you will. What I do, what I do, not do, what I do, I actually say to myself, okay, this is who I land on. What is the board telling me? Remember, this is not a multi-race wager. So you're working in real time. The board's right in front of you. You know where it is when the tote board puts up the race. You know where it is 5 minutes into the betting, post-parade, and so on. So depending on when you make the bet, say you decide to make your wager with 5 minutes to go before post. Who you land on, or who I land on as my top choice, regardless whether he's 7-5 or he's 27-1. If that horse I deemed as the horse, in my opinion, that I'm excited about and most likely to win, he's my top choice, then I'm going to use that horse on top. But when the odds dictate a specific scenario where you got overlay, you need to protect yourself. I don't believe in taking your top choice and spreading exactas, like a $20 exacta over one horse, your second choice, then other small exactas as saviors. I'm not a believer of that. I do play a cold exacta for an amount that I have to determine and an exacta saver. Now, if my top choice made my grid as the most likely winner in the race, regardless of his odds, and my second choice, in my opinion, was a dangerous contender. Now there's two things I'm going to do. I'm going to use my top choice or my second choice together in daily doubles and pick threes. Remember, I'm always going to play a cold double. I'm always going to play a cold pick three. The coldness never ends. But how deep I go in those forward races and what I place on the exacta in my current race, it's going to be the strength of my handicap in terms of win probability. How close is my third choice to my second choice, or even the fourth choice to my second choice? Because what I want to feel a level of confidence. If it's an iffy thing, then I'm probably better off playing my triple stronger in the race rather than my exacta in the race. Now, one of my followers and friends messaged me the other day, and he talked about a few years ago in the Belmont Stakes is a perfect example for an exacta race. In the Belmont Stakes, that's the essential quality one over Hot Rod Charlie. Now, in that race, that was a 1.5-mile traditional Belmont Stakes at Belmont. In that race, okay, I believe it was like a 7 or 8 horse field, tops. But in that race, I knew the public was going to bet a horse named Rock This World, or Rock Your World. I knew he was going to be, to me, a massive underlay. But through pedigree and all the other things I felt in determining the outcome of the race, I felt in every regard that that horse would not last, would not be a threat going 1.5 miles. Sure enough, and the reason why I'm bringing this story up, because that's a perfect example of the type of exacta I'm speaking about. It all depends on the circumstances. That day, I went all in on Essential Quality and Hot Rod Charlie. And guys, this is not me patting myself on my back. I was just proud of my determination and my decisiveness with the exacta play that day. It was the Belmont Stakes, grade 1. I did not like the Preakness winner that was in the race. I was shorting Rock This World, who was going to take in a lot of money. And there I had Essential Quality and Hot Rod Charlie, arguably two of the best 3-year-olds in the country that year. They literally ran not only 1-2 in the exacta we paid 14 and change, and I didn't have $2 on it. I had a very powerful exactor on that night. I celebrated for a number of weeks. But the reason why I'm bringing that up, that's a perfect scenario where it would be no need to spread. I played that exacta and that exacta only. Now, if the odds on the board say, hey, you know what? Going all one way may not be the best financial decision because you know what can happen. It could be a bad step. There could be a photo. You could be on the other end of the photo. Now, look, I understand it takes a lot of guts. But again, what are the contributing factors? So sometimes in a race like that, if the other way, so to speak, and I'm not promoting a box, I'm talking about a financial decision, a smart one. And it could happen on any one of the races at the Breeders' Cup. You may go 80%, it's not a box, 80% one way, cold, and just in case, because the talent's great, and you feel that the second choice is dangerous, you go 20% the other way, just in case there's a photo. So instead of tearing up a massive, let's call it a $200 exacta, you have a 80% in one exacta and 20% in another. It's not a box. Now in other races, you could bypass the exacta altogether, other than the SETI cold one, because you don't want to be precise and not get paid for it. But you could make those races more of triple or superfecta races. There are no exacta keys to me. There are triple keys and superfecta keys. And by the way, this is essentially important, guys. Trust me when I say this. Don't you ever level horse to win on top. Put all your money, all your beans in the basket on an exacta and not play your horse to win and not play him in the daily double or going forward in a different capacity. Because if you love a horse, that's who you land on. The win probability, as I deem, those who follow me, you know I put together not only a precise order, I put together a precise win probability percentage. Even if I go 6 or 7 deep. And the 6th and 7th deep win probability could be 1% or 2%. But my top 2 or top 3, if my top choice is 80% and my second choice is 12%, what does that tell you? I'm saying it's a position to be more of a decisive exacta. But those guys who have a 2, 3, 4, or 1% chance as a contender in a race, they're more for the underneaths, especially in your triples and superfectas. Okay? Listen, I know I repeated myself a couple times, but you get what I'm saying? Be smart. Financial decisions, window decisions. Read the board. Recognize what you land on and how decisive is it. And you know what? It's part of the game. If you engage in thoroughbred race horse wagering, I'm saying thoroughbred because I despise the world of trotters. That's not me. And if there are any trotters fans watching, I respect you. That's your game. I just never took part of it. I want my jockey on the horse. I don't want a big man like me, in harness racing. That's not my thing. But if you're involved in horse race wagering, you're going to bet exactas. So how you manage your money and your day and your other exotic wagers with exactas, that's going to be up to you. But I strongly advise, don't spread no keys in exactas. Yes, a strong exacta, an exacta saver with another horse, the third choice, or an 80-20, 80 powerful, 20 reversal. Because you don't want to be on the other. Do you really want an exacta to come out and pay $85 and you had it one way, 60 times, and the other way, you don't even have it at all. Kind of sucks. The only way you can make money doing that is if you use your second horse and double a pick three, and you ended up capturing those funds back that way. But remember, I don't need to talk to people about the win bet. The worst feeling in the world in this sport, and let me know in your comments if you agree, is to love a horse, him paying $19.60 or $23.40 or even $6. Wins going away, opening up by 3 lengths, and all you played was exactas or triples. That's what's special about the triple and a superfecta key, because if you got your winner and you did your work underneath, you may not hit the exacta, but you can nail your triple or your superfecta. But you gotta profit from your horse winning. The win bet's important. And if you're not playing a win bet, because your budget doesn't call for it, but you could play a daily double with the next race who you have a strong opinion, now you have a strong daily double. Nothing wrong with that. I would still put, a few shekels on my win bet. Because if you're betting a full card, and I do this all the time, or you're betting Breeders' Cup Friday or Breeders' Cup Saturday, or the full card on Kentucky Derby Day, or a regular Saturday where you go with your pals to the track, you don't want to be out of capital at the end of the day. So you got to manage the money, but more importantly, when your game plan is essentially important, and exactas are a part of that. Now, one thing I want to make a note, and I'll end this show because I'm going to go and watch Thursday Night Football tonight. And guys, I got so much coming up, so stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe and like it. Your likes and your acknowledgement of this show here on Focus to the Finish YouTube channel, it helps me. And you know what? I got a lot of content. I plan on doing specific deep dives for you on big races on the weekends. But we're talking right now wagering opportunities or my thoughts on different exotics. And there's going to be a few more coming before the Breeders' Cup, because you may get something that I said and you took it as a real pearl that's gonna, you're gonna benefit from it, because we all learn by doing. Trust me, I've been there, done that, and I'm seasoned. I'm in control of what I do. I put my kids through college. Now it's me and everything that I want to engage in. All right. So I'm prepared on race day. And when I say focus to the finish, I mean it. You can't get distracted. I just printed out Keeneland Saturday. I was going to do the full card at Keeneland, but I'm not going to do it because I'm still going to continue my Breeders' Cup work. But stay tuned for a show on this 9 furlong Grade 3 Fayette Stakes at Keeneland. All right, it's a little promo. I'll probably record that show. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come on here and I'm gonna deep dive that race, horses 1 through 9. Good race to bet. 3-year-olds facing all the horses. But one lasting thought I wanted to share. I cringe when I hear handicappers on TV or other professionals in this business when they say this. They talk about breaking down a horse and they like a horse, but you know what they say? The horse is going to be too short of a price for them. What does that mean? If you land on a horse, high probability of winning. Sure, we all want the horse to pay $37.60, be a huge overlay or a long shot, as they say. But if you land on a horse and you're decisive in your ways, why would you want to gather another potential opportunity because you're saying he's going to be too short of a price? So that means you're going to default to somebody else because the value in your win bet isn't enough for you? Well, you got to manage your money differently. You got to increase that bet or find ways to add value to that horse. Put a strong key in, play a powerful exacta, play a nice daily double or lead in your pick three, you know. But listen, we all want value. You gotta land on who you land on, trust the process, and say to yourself, you know what? Yeah, I know there's races where I could reach a bit, and that's when you do it. Meaning, if there's a horse that you deemed is like in my case, my fourth choice, but I feel he's a potential upsetter in the race, and he's going to be sitting on the board at 24-1. Well, if that's going to be that, again, what other race dynamics exist? I may use him in my pick three. I may play that guy in my exacta saver. Or if need be, I'll use him in another capacity. So I just had to throw that in there because I watched an interview the other day, and the guy says, I like this horse, but he's me too short of a price. You kid. Back to that exacta Belmont Stakes that I was as decisive about as I've ever been decisive before, because I was working with a mile and a half. I didn't like anybody else. I went with Essential Quality, Hot Rod Charlie, and I celebrated all weekend. And you know what? We hope the scenarios happen like that, but when you do the work and then it pans out on the racetrack, it is a great, joyous feeling. All right, so until next time, I'll be back again. I'm going to do that deep dive for you guys on the Keeneland race on Saturday, so stay tuned for that. I'll probably put it up there tomorrow, all right? You guys have a great night. God bless you. God bless your families. And you know what? I won't say let's go get them. We're going to get them next weekend. Just don't lose the faith and always focus to the finish.